and welcome back to my Crochet Collections channel. For this week we are going to learn how to make your own homemade Christmas ornament. What you need is a 2.5mm size hook. You will need some fingering or detail weight yarn. You will also need a tapestry needle and some scissors. Once you have all of these materials, let's head over to the table and get started. See you soon! So for this little bauble, we are going to be working with some string light yarn, and this is sometimes called a fingering weight yarn. And what you want to do to get started is take your yarn, wrap it around your fingers like so. You're going to take your hook, insert it under that first strand, pull up a loop. You want to pinch it and carefully take off that loop, yarn over, and we are going to secure it by chaining one. Now that you've got your magic loop, just flip it over and start single crocheting 6 into that magic loop that you made. And just remember that you are just working with string right now, and it may be a little bit difficult to work those single crochets underneath both of those strands. So when you've got 6 single crochets, I'll meet you back and we can start round 2. To start round 2, we just want to grab this little tail right here and gently pull it until your circle cinches shut. And we are not going to slip stitch, we are going to immediately work into that very first stitch that you see right there. Right there. And you are going to work in the back loop only. So, the back loop is this part right here. That's the back loop. We are just going to be working 2 single crochets right into that back loop. So go ahead and do 2 single crochets in the back loop. And we are going to start increasing our rounds to form the bottom of our little Christmas ornament. Like I said before, just take your time with this kind of yarn because it is a little bit more difficult to work with. So there's 2. And to make things easier to keep track of your stitches, I am just going to pull up my yarn, grab a stitch marker, and I'm just going to insert it right into that very first stitch that I made. And that just helps keep track of the first stitch of the round. So go ahead and continue single crocheting in the back row twice into each stitch all the way around, and at the end of round 2 you should have a total of 12 single crochets in the back loop. 1 and 2, and I like to work around the tail so I don't have to weave in the ends. So I'll meet you back at the end of row 2. Round 3, we are going to continue single crocheting into the back loop, and for the start of round 3 we are going to single crochet 2 together into that back loop. So go ahead and remove your stitch marker and single crochet 2 into that stitch. So there's 1. We're going to move up our stitch marker and 2. Right into this next stitch, we are just going to do 1 single crochet into that back loop. And that would be the pattern for the rest of this round. So into that second stitch, we are going to do 2 single crochets, and then into the next one, we are just going to do 1. You're going to repeat this until you have a total of 18 single crochets at the end of this round. So go ahead and continue working this pattern, and I'll see you back at the end of this round. And just remember, you are working in the back loops only. For round 4, we are still increasing, so we are going to do 2 single crochets right into this next stitch, and we want to move up our stitch marker when we do that first single crochet. So there's 1. You want to move it up, and 2, and into the next 2 spaces, I'm sorry, not the next 2 spaces, in the next 2 stitches, we are going to do 1 single crochet. So there's 1, and 2, and then 2 single crochets into the next one, and that would be the pattern for the rest of this round. And at the end of round 4, you should have a total of 24 single crochets in the back loops. And I'll see you guys in a little while. Just make sure that you are double counting your stitches and checking to make sure that you have the right amount at the end of each increase. For row 5, we are doing another row of increasing, and we are going to start with 2 single crochets into the back loop. Just go ahead and take your stitch marker and move up that first stitch again. So there's 1, there's 1, just move up that stitch marker, and 2. And then we are going to single crochet in the back loop of the next 3 single crochets. There's 1. Go ahead and do another increase, and that will be 2 single crochets in the back loop of that stitch. There's 1, and 2. Do 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 single crochets. And that would be the pattern for the rest of this round. And at the end of round 5, you should have a total of 30 single crochets in the back loops. And make sure that you are working in the back loop, or that will throw off the little pattern that we've been doing. And I'll see you at the end of round 5. For round 6, we are still increasing, so we are going to do 2 single crochets into that back loop, and we are just going to move up our stitch marker, and into the next 4 single crochets, we are just going to do 1 single crochet in the back loop. And that will be the pattern for the rest of this round. And after the 4th single crochet, we will do another increase. And at the end of round 4, you should have not round 4, at the end of round 6, you should have a total of 36 single crochets. Now meet you back at the end of round 6. So just remember you're doing an increase and then 4 single crochets, and they are all worked in the back loop. For round 7, we are still increasing. We are going to do 2 single crochets into that back loop, and then into each of the next 5 single crochets, we are going to do 1 single crochet. So that is 5 consecutive single crochets. And that would be the pattern for the rest of this round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 42 stitches, and that would be single crochet stitches in the back loops only. So we're doing another increase here, and then we will just do a single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. Now meet you back at the end of round 7. Row 8 is our last row of increasing, so we are just going to repeat what we did for the last round, except that we are going to add 1 more stitch, and that will make it 6 stitches when we do our single crochets. So go ahead and do 2 single crochets into that very same space. Don't forget to move up your stitch marker. And then for each of the next 6 single crochets, we are just going to single crochet once. And just remember, we are doing the back loops only. And that will be our last round of increasing. So at the end of round 8, you should have a total of 48 single crochets. Then do an increase, and then do 6 more single crochets into the next 6 single crochets. Now meet you back at the end of this round. For rows 9 through 19, or the next 10 rows, we are just going to single crochet into the back loops of every single crochet all the way around. And we're going to carry our little stitch marker all the way through to make sure that we have a total of 10 rows. Now we'll meet you back at the end of row 19. So go ahead, grab your hook, and start single crocheting once into the back loops of every single crochet all the way around. Now see you guys in a little while. So at the end of row 19, your little Christmas ornament should look something like this. And I decided to do 5 rows instead of 10, so that's why it looks a little bit shorter than what you're supposed to be. So for 120, you are supposed to single crochet 2 together. So that's 1, 2, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. We're going to grab our stitch marker, mark the first stitch of the row, and then single crochet once in each of the next 6 single crochets. Just remember, you are single crocheting in the back loops only. And once we are done with this first decreasing round, we will go ahead and fill up our little Christmas ornament. And at the end of round 20, you should have a total of 42 stitches. Now see you guys at the end of this round. So at the end of round 20, you're just going to go ahead and fill up your little Christmas ornament. I just used scraps that I had lying around, and I also used up some old projects and swatches to fill up my little Christmas ornament. So we're going to continue on with our decreasing, and for row 21, we are going to single crochet 2 together. So we're going to single crochet 2 together. There we go. Move up our stitch marker, and then single crochet once into the next 5 single crochets. And you're just working in that back loop all the way across. You're going to have a total, let's see, you're going to have a total of 36 single crochets at the end of this round. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to do another decrease here. There's 1 and 2. And then do 5 more consecutive single crochets. And just repeat that all the way around, and you will start to see your little Christmas ornament closing up. Now I'll meet you back at the end of round 21. For round 22, we are going to go ahead and single crochet 2 together, and I went ahead and moved up my stitch marker. And then we are going to single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. So 1 less than last time. And I will bring us to a total of 30 crochet stitches at the end of row or round 22. Just remember that at the end of every 4th row, sorry, not the end of every 4th row, at the end of every 4th stitch, you do a decrease. And a decrease is single crocheting 2 together. Now we'll meet you back at the end of row 22. Alright, so I switched over to a reddish color because I was running out of the variated color that I was using. And I thought that this would look pretty neat with the Christmas ornament when it's all finished. So, for round 23, we are going to single crochet 2 together. Let's just move up our stitch marker. We are still working in the back loops. There's 1 and 2. Don't forget to move up that stitch marker. And we are going to single crochet once in the back loops only across the next 3 single crochets. We are going to do another decrease by single crocheting 2 together. And that would be the repeating pattern for the rest of this round. And at the end of round 23, we should have a total of 24 single crochets. And that is in the back loops only. So I'll meet you back at the end of round 23. Around 24, we are going to start with 2 single crochets together. Just move up that stitch marker again. And replace that stitch marker. Then we are going to single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And by the end of this round, we should have a total of 18 stitches. Make sure you do a decrease. And then do 2 more in the next couple of stitches. Now we meet you back at the end of row 24. Around 25, we are just going to single crochet in the next couple of stitches. We are single crocheting 2 together in those next couple of stitches. 1 and 2. Move up that stitch marker. Starting to get a little bit late because our hole is getting really small. Single crochet once into the next stitch, and then we are just going to do another decrease. And that will be the pattern for the rest of round 25. And at the end of round 25, you should be back down to 12 stitches. Now I'll meet you guys back for our last round of decreasing. Our last round is just single crocheting 2 together all the way around, and that should bring you to a total of 26. And if you're off by a couple, that's fine, because we are just going to use our long tail to pull in everything. So go ahead and single crochet 2 together all the way around. Oops. And then just leave a tail for weaving in your end. And I am just going to use some twine to create a hanger for this ornament. So there's one. Now see you back at the end of this ornament. Oops, come on. There we go. Alright, so this is what your little Christmas ornament looks like when it's all neatly stuffed. And I am just going to add a little bit of twine for the hanger. And to do that, I am just going to use the crochet hook that I use, and I'm just going to insert it underneath those stitches, grab the twine, and carefully pull it through. So there we go. And twine is a little bit harder to deal with because it is a stiffer fabric. Just turn it around. And there we go. Just tie a knot at the end. You've got yourself the homemade Christmas ornament. So I hope you guys have enjoyed learning how to make this Christmas ornament with me. And you can make this in a larger version with a bigger hook and thicker yarn. So Merry Christmas, and I hope to see you all next week. See you soon!